that. We'll call this one stairs underscore rework. We will load up that OBJ file we just exported, so we'll make sure we go into our stairs folder. Stairs rework.obj, we'll open that. I'm just going to change my path to my temp directory path there. I just want to double check on the size of that. Steps 3 diff, right? I'm just going to jump into our folder. It's this one here. We're going to create a color texture, but we're going to import the one we've already used. So I'll show you what I mean. If you haven't been watching the previous times we've imported or created a new project in Mari, it will come in and it won't have a texture on it, but we will fix that right up. Right, I'm going to go to flat shaded. And now the color channel here in it, I'm going to right click, import into layer stack. We're going to make sure we're in our stairs folder. Again, if you can't see your textures, just type a star in and they'll pop up, because it defaults to looking for a TIFF file. Steps 3 TIFF, that's the one that we are working with. Just import all patches. Wait for it to load in. Okay. Now we have our texture as it appears in Max at the moment. I'm going to leave masking turned on. Or will I? I may actually turn masking off just for the moment. Work on the model at an angle, slight angle. I want to be able to see the front step as well as the top of the step. So there's that front edge and the top, and I want to work at a bit of an angle, not too much of an angle though, so I can see both. I'm just going to zoom in a bit. Just frame it up a little bit better like that. So I'm going to add a new layer. We'll go back into our images and we'll load up some textures. Now I know I want to add like a dirt layer to this, so I'm going to load up this directory here, which is basically a lot of our alpha maps we were looking at before. Select all of those and open. I also have to keep in mind that the ends of these stairs are actually intersecting with the wall that runs around along the outside of the model. So if I want the dirt texture, which I want around the edges to show, I'm going to have to come in a bit further than you would think, because the edges of these are hidden by the wall, or the border that runs up the side of the stairs. So we're working on a new layer. I'm just going to pull in our texture here. I'll scale that back a bit. Just wondering if there might be a better texture. Oh, this one might be alright. We'll work with this one and we'll see how we go. I'm just going to pull that out a bit. I think I'll start with the middle and we'll work our way out. So I'm going to rotate you around. Start painting that in. Again, I'm working with my brush opacity turned down slightly, so I'm just going to have to go over the areas a few times to make sure it comes in quite dark. Don't worry about this bit here, we're going to paint over that in a minute. Alright, I'm just going to bake that down by hitting the Alt key. And now I'm going to rotate you around a bit and move you in there. I'll paint that circle line out. And bake that down. We'll rotate you around maybe like that. Start there. Okay. Hit the Alt key to bake that down. Move this texture around a bit, maybe in there like that. I'll bake that down. Just going to move that texture to the side for a minute. I'm going to throw an invert adjustment mask on this and we'll see what it looks like. Let's go back to a darken. No. It pays to look at a few of these different mixes because you never really know how they're going to blend together. Most times they won't work, but surprisingly sometimes they will. Definitely not. No, let's go back. It's not going to give me what I'm really looking for here, so I'm going to remove that adjustment layer. Pull that in a little bit. Throw on a new layer. And let's look for something a little different. Pull that in. Let's zoom out a bit. Rotate you around. Let's see what this looks like. Again, I'm going to paint it in. I'm going a little darker on the edges here and not quite so dark toward the end. So in other words, I'm going over the edges here a little bit more than I am the middle. Just going to bake that down, and I'm going to rotate that texture around. And again, I'm going over the ends more so than the center. I'm just going to bake that down. And maybe about here. We'll bake that down. I'm going to rotate the texture back around again. Maybe about there. Just a little bit up here. Okay, we'll bake that down. Just going to move that up to the side for a minute. Play with my levels here a bit. No, I don't want to lighten it up. I'm going to see what that looks like. I'm going to export everything flattened. We're in our stairs folder. Should star that. I don't want to overwrite the original texture just yet, which was called Steps3 diff. I'm going to call this one Steps3 diff underscore painted. We're going to jump back into max, back into the material. Not this is the one we want. Okay, we're going to change this texture here. Steps3 diff painted. That's the one we want. Okay, it just adds a little bit more interest to the stairs. They don't look quite so uniformly one color now. They look like they've been worn and weathered quite a bit. Maybe dirt and wind has caused dirt to build up in the corners here a bit more. I may change the color in Photoshop, do a little bit of color correction. I'll just wait, I think, until I get a bit more of the model textured up before I decide exactly what I want to do there. Because we could also change the texture that we're using for the brickwork that's under the stairs here. At the moment it's not looking too bad. May wait. I think we'll wait until we get a bit more of the banisters and columns textured up before we decide anything more about the center stairs. Okay, so we've dirtied up the front steps, we've dirtied up the borders, we've dirtied up the base of the terrace, as well as the tiles here on the top and the center tile. did want to, I think I forgot to, I'm just going to isolate this ring here. I don't think no, I didn't. Again, nothing should really have a really sharp, hard edge to it like that. That's just not natural. You're not going to find, particularly something that's supposed to be stone, with a sharp, hard edge. It always smooth the edges. So I'm just going to collapse this stack. We're going to edge mode. Let's see now. All right. Let's look at it from the top viewport. Okay. I'll go from the side viewport. I just want to deselect. I do that by holding the Alt key while I'm in selection mode. I don't want any of these center pieces. So normally you'd use ring or loop, but they weren't performing properly at the moment. It must be something to do with, because the model I think has been cut, it couldn't use that automatic method, so it's no big deal just to go along the model and remove them here and there. You have to remember though, you're only looking at one side of the model here, so you may have to go and change it from front to back to get the other side, but we'll see. Let's go into the left viewport. Looks like it's selected those, that's fine. Let's go back into our main viewport and just wander around the model here. There's a few here that looks like it's missed, so we'll just get rid of those. That one there, that one there. There's one just there. There's a few over here. That one, that one, that one, that one, that one. And this is just so when I chamfer the edges, it doesn't affect the ones in the middle here, because we don't want that. We only want the outside edges done. Couple here. I'll just check again. That's all good. That's all good. That's all good. Let's check the outside edge. That's all fine. Okay, that's all fine. Yeah, I think the reason loop and ring didn't work is because the model's been cut here. It's not a complete circle. So Max was just having a problem automatically finding those edges. It looks like it also didn't select this edge just here, which we do want to select. So press the Control key and select that one and that one. Just check the other side. Oh, is my music too loud? Alright, I'll fix that right up. Thanks for telling me, Jibwood. Is that any better? Let me know if the music's still too loud. Maybe me mumbling a bit too, so. But yeah, I appreciate you popping into chat and letting me know. When I upload the videos back to Twitch and to YouTube, I remove the music completely, so it's generally only during my streams that the music is playing. But let me know if that's any better. I've turned it down just a bit. Okay, so we've got those edges, all the outside edges. Oh, looks like I missed one in here that I have to deselect, so I press the Alt key. Okay, I think we should be good now. Okay. Let's open up Camper or Chamfer. Let's see what that's like. That's better. It's just softened that edge up a bit. Alright, let's just exit isolation mode. I'm just going to do a quick save of the model here. Yeah, if you're still in chat, Jibwood, let me know if the music is okay now, if it's still too loud. I'll try not to mumble quite so much as well. I have reduced the music a bit. Okay, we're just saving the model out. I'm just going to also make sure that we saved out this. If the music is still too loud, guys, do let me know. I have turned it down. And like I said, if you watch my streams played back on Twitch, in the uploads video section of Twitch, or if you watch it on YouTube, I always upload all of my streams to YouTube. The music is completely removed. So if you had a problem hearing me at all, watch the videos on YouTube and there'll be no music playing in the background. Alright, let's see now. Where were we? Just going to zoom in here. I don't think I did any. It's got to turn edge mode off there so I can select this object here. I'm going to isolate the selection. And the same thing, we're going to soften up those edges on the outside of the model. So I'm going to collapse the stack. We're going to edge mode. Okay, we loop that edge there. We'll select this edge and we'll loop that. Hold the control key, select that edge, and again we'll do a loop, and the bottom edge and do a loop. I don't want to do to select the inner edges, I need the outer edges here. I'll do the same thing on the inside. So select the edge and loop it. Bottom edge, and we'll loop that. This bottom edge, and we'll loop that. And this one down here. I'm not going to select these edges here because these edges are being hidden by the columns that are at the end of the model, and this one actually is also hidden, so we don't have to worry about those edges. Okay, so we have the top, the bottom, the top, the bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom. Might actually, instead of using the one built into the edit poly, I might throw a modifier on top of it. This is an updated modifier that Max introduced, that Autodesk introduced with 3D Studio Max 2017. So I'm going to go to 3 segments. I'm just going to pull it right back. It doesn't need to be quite that much. And we'll just reduce the tension just a little bit. Okay. That just softens up those hard edges a bit. I'm also going to copy that modifier. I'm going to exit isolation mode, and we'll select this one, and we'll go back into isolation mode. Again, we're going to collapse the stack. We'll select that top edge and we'll loop it. The bottom edge and loop that. Same with these ones down the very base. We'll rotate around to the other side of the model. Again, holding the control key and loop. The bottom edge and loop. Loop. And the very bottom one and loop that. Again, we're not worrying about the ends. Now, because I copied that modifier from the other object and both objects are identical, we can paste between them and we'll get an identical look. Let's just end the isolation. Alright. Now I'm just making sure that I have actually softened up the hard edges on the bits that I've done. I did that. I've done those. I did the stairs. I did those. I think I may have forgotten this one though, so let's just fix these up really quickly. Did I do them? No, I didn't. These are still on a hard edge, so again we're going to collapse the stack. The top edge is selected. Let's select that one and this one right here. And this one here. I won't do the very bottom edge though. Actually I will, because it does stick out from the model from memory, so I think we will do that edge as well. That one there, and we'll loop that. Now I'm just going to fly around the outside of the model here and make sure that we've selected all the bits that we need. Those ones. Those ones. It looks like it didn't select that one there or that one there. Okay. Let's throw a modifier on top of that. Pull it right back. We'll put in 4 segments. I'm just going to deselect that. Alright. I'm going to copy that modifier and exit isolation mode. We'll select this one. Yeah, we'll isolate that selection. Again, we'll collapse the stack. There's it selected. Select that bottom edge and we'll loop it. Select that edge and loop it. That edge and loop it. The top edge and we'll loop that. The bottom edge. Again, it didn't want to loop the bottom edge, but that's okay. Easy enough to select it manually. And that one there. And that one there. And because we copied the modifier over, we can just paste it in. And we'll exit isolation mode. These haven't been textured up at all, so we'll wait till we texture them before we soften the edges of the model. These ones were done, so that's okay. Again, I'm just going to do a quick save. Remember guys, if you've got any questions, anything you don't understand, anything you just want to say to me, pop into chat. If I can help, I'm more than happy to. Anything you want explained further or in more detail, let me know. Okay, let's start doing some texturing work on these pieces here, I think. So I'm going to select that and isolate it. I think I have these grouped. Yeah, I do. So I'm just going to ungroup them. We'll select that piece. We'll convert it to a poly. It's always better to work in edit poly than edit mesh. And I'm just going to attach these pieces together. There is no material on it, so that's not really an issue. And these are just in pieces because when I created the model, I created it in sections and then added them together to make the column. While you're in attach mode, if you hover your mouse over any section that isn't attached, it will highlight in yellow. So you know that you've got them all when nothing highlights as it is here. And turn that off. We will exit isolation mode again. We'll call this one front, call it F. We'll call it column. It's not really a column, but we'll call it column. F column and right. We're going to do the same thing with this one. I'm just going to go back into isolation. I'm going to ungroup. I'll select a piece and convert it to a poly. And then we'll attach them together. And you see how they're highlighting if it's not already attached. That way you know that you've missed a piece if it highlights like that. You can actually go into attach list mode as well. A lot of people prefer to do it that way. I prefer to do it this way. It doesn't really make much of a difference. Might be a bit quicker to go into attach list mode, but for something this small, it doesn't really matter. Everything's selected because nothing is being highlighted. So I'll turn attach off and we'll exit isolation mode. Okay, so we called this one right, and we're going to call this one left. Okay. Now, before we start texturing it up in Mari, I always like to put down just a base color texture that we then start painting over. So I'm just going to assign that material. And we're going to put a UVW map, just a box map on it. fit it to the model. And that's a good just as a base texture for what we want to work with. Again, I'm just going to copy that and paste it on the other side and assign the same texture to it again. Alright. Now I want to put an unwrap UVW. I want to go into map channel 2. We'll move the UVs across. Open the UV editor. We're going to select all the UVs, go mapping, flatten mapping. We'll leave it all on the default values and go OK. That just maps each piece out into its own UV space. Now we're going to go render to texture. We're going to use existing channel 2. We're going to add a diffuse map. We'll make it larger than we actually need, and then we can always reduce it down in Photoshop later on. It's always better to go a bit bigger than a bit too small. 2048 is probably a bit large for something this size, but like I said, we can always reduce the size in Photoshop later. It's always easier to bring a size down than to try and work with a small map and make it larger. F column right, we'll just leave it as that. We'll get rid of the diffuse. We're saving it as a target file .tga. 24-bit is fine. Okay, we're going to render. Don't worry about that. By mapping it to a flattened mapped UV space, that just means that when we bring it into Mari, we're not going to paint on one part of the model and all of a sudden have it show up on another side that we didn't expect because they're sharing UV space. This just makes sure that each part of the model has its own UV space, so you can paint on each bit individually. You won't accidentally be painting here and have it show up here. Okay, we can close the render to texture down. Now we want to go into our material editor, and we'll just assign this new material that we just rendered out. So standard, bitmap, we're in our stairs folder. We're looking for something beginning with F. Where are we?